Alright, here's a cute little fox that I saw on, I can't remember where I saw it, but it's a good, neat little project to carve. Here's a little fox and he's looking up, and basically you have this to carve out here, and then the tail that comes back here actually goes around. So in other words, it just goes from this point on around things, so the legs are not exposed back here. So this is basically 1.5 inches thick by 4 inches high by about 3 3/4 inches long. So as you look at this, and let me sort of emphasize this a little bit more, this will be cut out in here, and this is his up in here. So the thing that we want to do is, first of all, we want to take, now when you cut it out, of course you want the grain to be running this way up the legs, just like this, in other words. So the first thing I would do is to cut this down here like this, come up here and come down here like this, and we're going to start removing part of this right here, bringing that tail back, in other words. Alright, I'm trying to find easy projects for people. That's what I'm trying to do more than anything right now. I had the pleasure of attending a wood carving show. I haven't attended one in ages, with COVID of course and with other things, but I met some carvers there. It was such a joy to be able to have it. I had the pleasure of being able to meet Mr. Roger Stegall, who is a wonderful, wonderful carver and just a very nice man, really is. And so it was a pleasure talking to him and you know, being a part of it. And I was not in it. I attended it, in other words. It was in Arkansas, and it was close enough here in Texas. You know, it was about a 7-hour drive. You know, but I just don't get to go to that many. There's not many in this area. Okay, I'm bringing the tail back here, and we want to come back here, and we want to just kind of let that tail go forward just a little bit. I want to have that. But I had a real joy in attending that wood carving show, and I met some other people, and it was just a real joy. And the interaction, I know classes online are a wonderful thing, but especially to people that can't go, but there's nothing like the interaction of going and meeting people and seeing other carvers and talking to them and things like that. So that was a real joy. And then I thought I was on my way home, or you know, I was going to come home, and I had a message. So when I was there in Arkansas, I had a very good friend call me and say that he had they were going to be in Branson, and I really didn't want to go that far, but I went ahead and met them over at Branson, and so I got to spend a day with them there. So that was a joy. That was a good thing, because when he called, he didn't know that I was in Arkansas. He thought I was in. I was only about 2 hours from where he was in Branson. So. So that was a joy. That was a good thing. Watch as it turns here. All right, see that? Now on the original one, the tail was pretty straight, but I'm going to curve it just a little bit. Give it that little bit of going to there. Okay. But that was a joy. Like I said, I got Mr. Roger was a very kind, nice man, wonderful to talk to, and just an exceptionally brilliant carver, really, just really. All right, I'm gonna come up to the head now, and I'm gonna kind of do this. And what we want to do is bring this kind of to a point up here, just a little bit of a point to the head, you know, so and we just kind of go around the head, taking off stuff here. Okay, just sort of go around him, and this is an easy project. It's not a difficult project, it's a shaping project, and that's what I try to find a lot of times for doing these type of things. And we want to come back here. I want to do this. And we want to outline this here because we're going to take some wood out of there, in other words. Put some in there. And we're going to take some off in here to give this more of a good look. Okay. Now, since the tail is going to be coming around here, and this tail is going to have to be down, it's going to have to come down quite a bit more. So a lot of this will be brought down like that. Now watch your grain, because like in these areas, it changes a little bit, so you want to be real careful not to go too far with it, as we say. But the tail will be covering on the other side this part right here. So we bring the tail and we just kind of bring it down like this, and then we take this away in here, because the tail will stick out, in which case we'll come to the end here and we'll just kind of go like that. In other words, where the tail's gonna and like I said, the tail's got to come down even more. And we want to be very, very careful that we don't be careful. So you want to have a sharp knife. And there. You nearly need to watch the grain on these things, because the grain is kind of Alright, there we go. Alright, we start removing some of this from the head. And kind of come up, like I said, we come up like this. And we come from this portion like this. We bring that head down, okay? And we also begin to, now I think on this other one we didn't have the, but let's go ahead and draw a center line down this thing, and I'm going to go ahead and put the ears here, in which case we're cutting just like this. So we bring that a little down a little bit. And we almost want this to a point. We almost want this head to a point. In fact, we do. So I was gone for a few days, and I really enjoyed the interaction with the carvers, and I enjoyed the time with my friend in Branson. Branson is a very nice place to visit. I had a chance to visit the Inger block while I was there, just for a little while. Talked to some of the people. It was a, you know, joy there. And I'm gonna make a cut right there, these ears, and I'll make a cut right there on these ears. Okay. So it was really a nice thing to go to. Used to, at one time, there was a lot of wood carving in Branson. I talked to a lady who, I used to always attend Silverdale City. That's what I'm trying to think of the name of them, yeah. Used to go to Silverdale City. They have a Valley Wood Carvers there. But I was talking to a lady who knew about that, and things have really kind of changed. We were discussing the fact of, you know, we were discussing the fact that, you know, young people really are not as interested in hand carved stuff as they once were at one time, handmade stuff. I feel that they're interested, but they're not as interested, as we say. And so a lot of the Valley Wood Carvers in Branson, Missouri, used to, you go in there and there was just carvings galore, and now it's more like, you know, manufactured stuff. And there's some carvings in there, but not as many. And I think that has a lot to do, basically, with the fact that people just, you know, the hand carved stuff is beautiful and lovely and all that stuff, but it's not a necessity today like it was at one time. It was much more prevalent and much more, there we go, sort of like that. It was much more in a demand, things that were carved. So to me, wood carving is fun, and that's what I want you to make it, because basically selling your stuff, you can do that, but making a living doing it's another thing. That's a pretty hard life to try to do. Most people have to have other jobs to fund and do those type of things. Come back here and we move a lot of this, because that way the tail will show that it's that it goes. So, but we were talking about that. We were talking about the fact that handcrafted things don't mean as much to people, and you can understand that with things like Hobby Lobby and stuff like that. And it's not Hobby Lobby's fault. I'm just saying that they go in there and they see things that look like they're hand carved, or whatever, and so they choose to get these things, and so hand carved things are not as you know, is important anymore, and that's what you have. So now we're going to come down here and we're going to make a little cut right here so we can separate that tail. There we go. In there. But we were talking about that. Things that are hand carved are not as popular as they once were. And when you go to the Engler block in Silver Dollar City, excuse me, in Branson, Missouri, a lot of the carving that you see there have been there year after year. They're very, very expensive ones. And but they tell me that they're having pretty good outcomes with their carving classes. So that's a good sign that and a lot of, just like the Arkansas show, the Northwest Arkansas carvers, and I appreciate it. I met Scott Boyle there, who runs Bigfoot Carving Tools. Very nice, and I met his wife, and they very, very fine people, nice people. And so in a manner of speaking, you know, it's just, you can see a real problem with sales as far as wood carvings. I'm sure that people have commission work and stuff like that.